Hi Pisces, welcome to your September 2018 Tarology 33 reading. We have a Celtic Girl spread in front of us. That's normally a 10 card spread, but you did get an extra card in the position of hopes or fears. And then we have an oracle card that we read at the end to help tie everything together. Alright, let's start going through one by one. The card in the main situation position we have is the Six of Swords. So this is normally a Aquarius card, so for some of you, you could be dealing with an Aquarius. Actually represents 10 to 20 degrees of Aquarius, if that helps narrow it down for you. This could just be referring to you moving on now. Mars has actually been going retrograde in Aquarius for a long time. It's actually moved into Capricorn now, and it's actually, I'm recording this on the 20th of August, and it's going to move direct again in Capricorn. Eventually we'll be back in Aquarius, so this could just be saying that maybe something that happened during that time while Mars was retrograde in Aquarius. You might be moving on from something that happened during that time, or maybe just saying with that energy shifting now, you're able to move on from it. And that's not going to be the case for all of you. For some of you, this could just be referring to you traveling somewhere. Usually this is going to be more of a short distance type travel though. If you look at the type of boat they're on, it's not really conducive to a huge trip, but, so maybe just a more local thing, a road trip of some kind. And I'm trying to think if anything else comes to mind with this card for you guys, but yeah, I think that's pretty much it. All right, and then the challenge position, we have the Queen of Wands. So this could just be saying that you're dealing with an Aries. For some of you, this is usually my court card that represents Aries. With this in the challenge position though, this could be another indicator pointing to Mars, because Mars is the ruler of Aries. So combine that with the fact that I was saying Mars was retrograde in Aquarius, this could just be saying that that's what it's about. Something happened during that time while Mars was going backwards through Aquarius, and now your challenge is to actually move forward from it. For some of you, it could be saying that you're dealing with an Aries, and the challenge there might be to move on from them, or possibly move on with them. Because Mars being retrograde in Aquarius, that's your 12th house. So 12th house is sometimes referred to as a house of undoing, and that's actually the house you naturally rule. So you guys could have been having some difficulties with that energy, and then an Aries who's actually ruled by Mars, having their ruler go in retrograde, it's certainly possible that the two of you could have clashed if that's the case. But if your desire is to travel, and you have this as the challenge card as well, Aries is your second house of money, so maybe it's saying that if you wanted to travel somewhere, maybe finances are a little tight and they're preventing you from making that trip at this time. That's another way that it could play out. All right, and in the foundation position, we had the Ten of Swords. So this definitely points to something that went wrong for you, especially in the foundation position. The bright side of Ten of Swords is that it's done at this point, right? So you can only go in a positive direction from there, but obviously it's not a good feeling to have. So this could be tied in with all that, the Mars retrograde energy that you were feeling. It might have been a situation with an Aries that ended. That's a possibility. Maybe even a Leo, because we have a Leo in the past position. But we'll get to that when we get to that card. But yeah, Ten of Swords, never really a good thing to see in the reading, obviously. But again, like I said, with the fact that it's already here in the foundation position, that leads me to believe that it's something that already happened, especially with the Six of Swords there. So that's the one positive here, as opposed to if it was in one of the future positions. So this is something you've already been dealing with, most likely. And maybe that's what the Queen of Wands is saying. Your challenge is to take on that energy, the Queen of Wands, Aries energy, which is to start over, that cardinal energy to say, all right, I'm going to move on from this. Combining with that Six of Swords energy, that could be what that's referring to as well. All right. And another thing I should point out too, if you think about the Four of Swords in the tarot deck, the Four of Swords is a image of someone laying down. They have the three swords above them, and then there's one beneath them, and that's usually seen as a card of healing. So if you think about the Ten of Swords, and then if you have the Four of Swords, so you reduce that, the 10 minus 4, you'd end up at the 6. So maybe it's saying you've done some healing and now you're continuing to move on. All right, in the past position, we have the King of Wands. So this is normally my court card for Leo. So this could be saying that you're dealing with a Leo, and that's the case. This might have been the person who brought about this Ten of Swords situation for you. The reason I say that is if you look at them in the reading in this particular position, look at the direction that they're looking in. If you put them back in the spread, they're looking away from all this. So between them being in the past position and the way that they're looking, this looks like someone that's left your life. This could also be pointing to the time of Leo, though, which we were in. Like I said, I'm recording this on the 20th, so we're just now wrapping up Leo energy. So this could be referring to maybe something that happened during the time of Leo that caused this situation to happen. That's certainly another possibility. Leo would be your 6th house. So this could be saying that it's work related, possibly, which would make sense there. Like I said, with the Queen of Wands, Aries is your 2nd house. So maybe something happened with your work and, you're having some financial difficulties as a result. All right. In the present position, we have the Three of Pentacles. So this is a card for me that's a Capricorn card. It represents Venus transiting to Saturn for me. So this could just be saying that you're working on building something stable for yourself, especially if you're coming out of that energy. This could just be saying that now you're trying to work on rebuilding something, either something brand new or trying to rebuild something that has taken a hit in the recent past. Either one is possible. But usually the good thing when you see this card is that what you would be building would be pretty stable. That Saturn and Venus energy combining. So it'd be stable and something that you'd be happy with. So that's definitely a positive in that regard. In the near future position, we have another card that represents Capricorn for me, and that's the Four of Pentacles. So what this in particular could be pointing to is that, especially immediately following the 3, is saying that you guys make some progress and then maybe, you feel a little hesitant to continue on. Maybe because, especially if you're coming out of that Ten of Swords energy, you might just feel a little reluctant to push forward too far. So maybe you make a little bit of progress and then you say, okay, what should my next move be? Like I consider this as, thinking about finances. So especially if it's financially related, maybe you've been putting in work, you got some money now, and now you're trying to think about how should you invest the money moving forward, right? So you could stay in this spot for however long you want. Sometimes it's referred to as the miser card, but then your money won't necessarily grow. So you don't want to stay in this energy too long, but it is just saying maybe you do want to think about what your next move would be. And similarly, if it's related to relationships, this could be a symbol of being closed off. So, maybe you make a little progress with someone, but then for whatever reason you feel a little bit closed off and don't want to fully open up. If that's the case, some of the cards I see coming up that we'll look at say that maybe you want to move out of energy eventually, but at some point during this month you might be feeling this way. All right. In the position of your influence on the situation, we have the Star card. So sometimes this card is referred to as a wish card, similar to the Nine of Cups, but this is just more the major arcana version of it. And, this could just be saying that you have the power to manifest something, If you put in the work, maybe that's what the Three of Pentacles is pointing to. You really can see your wish fulfilled in that regard. Another way I look at this card too is it's the card that follows the Tower. So usually I see the Tower as the dissolution of ego. Usually it's right after the Devil card. So to me, I see the Devil can be an ego card from time to time, and then the Tower is a sudden event that comes along to knock you off that path. And now the star would be when you start rebuilding. You go through that situation, you realize, okay, you're starting over. Like that saying goes, naked in your truth. And usually if that's the case, it's something that's divinely guided. So if that's what you're feeling, if you're starting over in some kind of way, it looks like the cards do support that. But yeah, this is definitely a positive card to have. All right, in the position of the environment, we have the Page of Swords. So for me, this doesn't usually represent a specific air sign, but it could just represent more communication itself. So maybe this is going to be someone communicating with you, or just communication in general. Maybe especially if you were going through the Ten of Swords situation recently, maybe you were feeling a bit withdrawn, and now you come out of that. So just there's a lot of communication coming in. Could be multiple people talking to you. Might be one person in particular. If you look at the sword there, though, it looks like the person's kind of on guard in a way. So, they're not fully open. So, maybe if it's someone you had a conflict with in the past and you're trying to reconcile, maybe that's the energy that we're seeing there. But given that it's in the upright, usually the communication will be positive. It just might not be very deep. It could just be more of a surface, light level communication. All right. In the hopes or fears position, we have the Moon and we have the Ace of Wands. So, this could be a fear and a hope. Maybe that's why you got both cards, but let's talk about the cards one by one. So the Moon, sometimes people refer to the Moon as a card of deception, and sometimes they actually refer to it as a card that points to Pisces, which is your sign. But the way I think of the Moon mainly is think about if you're in an unfamiliar environment. And the example I like to use is maybe a hotel room, right? You're on vacation somewhere, you're in a hotel room, you go to sleep at night, turn off the lights, and then maybe you have to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, right? Just a random example. So, since it's a room you're not familiar with, you might be very cautious to walk into the bathroom if you don't turn the light on, right? You want to make sure you don't stub your toe, or even if you want to turn the light on, you have to reach around a bit to find the light switch, right? That's what I would say the Moon is usually about. It's not about outright deception. It's just that you have to feel things out. No one moved the light switch around while you were sleeping. No one moved any furniture around. So while you were able to move around the room easily when the light was on, you were comfortable with where you were going. With the Moon, you just might have to feel things out a little bit. And as far as the astrological timing, there's going to be a full moon in your sign in a week from now. Like I said, I'm recording this on the 20th of August. So about a week from now, I think, is when the full moon is in your sign. And then in September, there will be a new moon in your opposite sign. So that could be pointing to, with the Ace of Wands here, maybe you're hoping to start something new. Maybe that's what's going on here. Maybe you've been in that Ten of Swords energy, you're hoping to put it behind you, and maybe you want to start something new with an Aries, let's say, for example, or it could be any fire sign. Or maybe the fire sign represents you, like I said, taking the initiative and being the one to make an offer. And then maybe the person, we have the Six of Cups here at the bottom of the deck, which is often a card of reconciling with someone from the past. Just reconnecting too. It doesn't necessarily mean you guys had a falling out per se, just maybe lost contact with each other over time and now you're reconnecting with them. But I do call this card sometimes the being the bigger person card, because if you look at the two people on the card, Could just have been the angle, but it looks like the one person's bigger than the other. Oh, and we see the Eight of Swords underneath that. So maybe you're a little hesitant as well to actually make that offer. But yeah, that's what I see with this card. I sometimes call it the being the bigger person, maybe extending the olive branch, because if you look at the person who appears to be bigger between the two of them, you see they're holding the cup and offering it to that person. So maybe that's what it is too. If you had a falling out with someone, I mean, everyone these past couple months, there's been, like I said, Mars was going backwards through your 12th house, and then there's all the eclipses. So, I mean, a lot of the retrogrades happen a lot, but you don't always get a Mars retrograde, for example, to happen while the eclipses are also happening. So there's definitely some things that are a bit more rare than in any other year. Because I mean, we do get eclipses every year, but you're not always going to have Mars. Like the one at the end of July, for example, was actually right with Mars, so that was a pretty intense eclipse, and that was in your 12th house of Aquarius, so that could have really been maybe something that knocked you guys for a loop. So, it could just be saying that maybe you want to restart with someone, or it could just be you just want to start over again. But yeah, combining that moon card with the Ace of Wands, and then again pointing back to that Aries energy, you're hoping to start something new, I feel. And what supports that even more is in the outcome position, we have the Fool card. So the Fool card is taking a leap of faith. It's the card in between the World card, which is a card of completion, and the Magician card, which is manifesting something new. So, it's that in between limbo phase. So if you combine that with the Six of Cups, with the Aries energy there, the star energy, I'm getting the feeling that you want to start something new. And, with this in the outcome, it looks like eventually you will make that leap of faith. So it's something to keep in mind there. And now let's take a look at the Oracle card. The Oracle card actually is something similar to the Fool card as well. So if you needed further confirmation if that would be the right move or not, that might point to that there. And the name of the card is Come to the Edge. Here's the artwork. That's what I mean, come to the edge, and you look at the artwork, it's similar to the Fool card in some ways. And the number is 36, so if that holds any significance for you guys, that's the number. Now let me look at the messages from the book. Alright, it says courage, taking a leap of faith, overcoming fear, and accepting risk. The Oracle's message. Facing the unknown is the only choice you really have right now if you want to progress. It's okay to be afraid. Now is the time to take a risk that is not calculated, to feel the exhilaration as you ready yourself for a leap of faith. Spirit is present, so let go of fear. You are called to express your true self. Listen to your heart and soul, not your head. Come to the edge and discover that you can fly. You must step into the unfamiliar so that you may find your miracles. So, I mean, like I said, this is very much synced up with the Fool card and combined with the Star card as your influence in the situation. It says that you certainly seem to have support to start something new if you want to. Like I said, Mars was retrograde in your 12th, briefly in your 11th. It'll be back in your 12th house, and with that being the house you rule, normally Mars in the 12th isn't going to give you a lot of energy. But since the 12th house is the house you naturally rule as Pisces, you guys are the last zodiac sign. For you in particular, that might actually give you a boost that some others might not have. Okay, and if this is a relationship reading for you guys, I'll read that message. It says it's scary to be truly intimate with someone, to allow him or her to see all of you, especially the parts that you've kept hidden and protected. Now is the time to take that risk and let yourself be seen, truly seen. It's important that you speak up Voice what you need, state who you are, say what you hope for. This is not the time to play it safe, but to take a leap of faith. You will be glad you did. If you're seeking a relationship, the same applies. Take one step towards the gods, and they will deliver what you truly desire. Okay, so I mean, that pretty much speaks for itself there, but, I mean, it's understandable if you're in energy, especially if this Ten of Swords was a relationship that ended for you. Whether it was in the time of Leo, maybe even possibly with a Leo or some kind of fire sign. Maybe you're still, and maybe you think to yourself, all right, I got the Six of Swords, I'm ready to move on. And you, coming into the month, you're putting in the effort, starting to build something, and then maybe you just get fearful again, and that's where the Four of Pentacles comes from. You start to close off again. But this is saying, the challenge for you, and it looks like it would be supportive if you do so, is to open up more, so to come out of energy. And like I was saying before about the star being about letting go of ego, sometimes ego doesn't always have to have a negative connotation, but sometimes it's feeling like the outcome of something before you actually try, right? That's another way of looking at ego. It might seem innocent on the surface, where you might say to yourself, oh, I'm not going to tell this person this or that because I know that this is what they're going to say, or something like that, right? That's an expression of ego there, whether you think so or not, which is to think, oh, I know what the other person's going to do. I know how they're going to react, before you actually make that effort. So that's a more innocent way that ego could play out. So this is saying to truly be open, trust in the universe, take that leap of faith, and you should be rewarded. This isn't like a hugely romantic card coming from the environment, but at the very least, this looks like it could be saying that the person would be open to it if you communicate it to them. If you kind of look at their stance, I kind of say this is maybe a person with one foot in, one foot out, right? If you look at the way that their feet are. So maybe they'll reluctantly step forward with you. So maybe you're both kind of in that energy, where you're a little bit closed off, but it looks like the challenge would be for you to try to progress things if that's the case. All right, and then prosperity message. If this related to you more financially, like we were saying, maybe you're having some financial struggles and you start to get a little money, but then you feel like, oh, I don't know, what should I do next? Should I, maybe you're not comfortable spending the money yet because if you came out of some financial hardships, you just might be a little concerned about money still. So yeah, for that, it says, if ever there was a time for you to take a leap of faith into the unknown, it is now. This is the perfect moment to take a big risk. The unknown is the only choice now, and if you come to the edge, you will discover treasure beyond your wildest dreams. Allow your courage to lead you in spite of fears. You don't need to know the exact form of what you're going for. The essence is much more powerful, and Spirit has a way of delivering an even better version of prosperity than you can imagine. Take that step. The results will be amazing. Well, like I was saying, you will have a new moon in your opposite sign, which you always do around the time of Virgo. That's just natural. So, but the thing with that is it's actually going to be connecting with Jupiter, which is in Scorpio, which is your 9th house. And that's going to be a harmonious connection. So maybe that'll help play with the energies as well and help turn things in your favor. So just something to think about. All right, but that's all the messages we have for this month. So I'll wrap up there and I'll talk to you all next month. Bye.